Hello. Please ignore the bug splat on my visor. I haven't cleaned it. The cleaner is in the tail of my bike and I cannot be bothered to get it out right now. I have a special announcement for you again. I've been told by Cardo they are running another 48-hour sale where you can get 22% off site-wide using my code TIPTOE only for the 3rd and the 4th of July. So it's literally just 48 hours exclusive discount using the code TIPTOE, and just like the last sale, it is an amazing offer. So if you are looking at getting yourself a Cardo like the Pac-12 Pro I've got on my helmet right now, now is one of the best times to get it and save yourself a healthy chunk of money in the process. So make sure you check out that code. The link to the Cardo website will be in the description, and you have to use a discount code like mine, TIPTOE, to get your discount off. So there is that. Alright. Now I have a new mic adapter. Oh, and my bike needs fuel. Great. So you can now sit on my helmet. Yay! So let's just change that up. Alright, hello. Because the camera didn't make any sound, I'm going to assume my mic's set up right. We can hope. We can hope. I wanted to make this into an actual video, not just me promoting the Cardo sale, although that is quite important. So go and have a look at it if you don't already have one. I thought I'd do a quick little video on some dumb shit that I did and have done on a bike, and continue to do, because it was going to be like a rookie era kind of video, but I feel like that puts me in too much of like an advanced motorcyclist position, which I'm definitely not. So I'm just going to reel off a bunch of mistakes I made. First step, and probably one of the most important, is I neglected bike maintenance for quite some time, to the point where my chain definitely could have lasted longer had I taken care of it before I replaced it. And obviously I went quite a long time between oil changes, if you remember the service videos from the beginning of the year. And it's not that I don't know how important it is, it's that I do a lot of mileage, and forget that I need to do things a bit more regularly than maybe the average motorcyclist who might not do as much. Obviously, that is a broad statement. Dumb mistake number 2, and one that's just sparked in my head from that roundabout. This isn't an exhaustive list, I'm just sort of reeling off a few ideas. That roundabout was when I had my first accident, which was basically just a driver pulled out on me and I hit the front brake and dropped the bike. So I guess the mistake was, whether it's a mistake or not, but it's just something I learned a little bit more that day, is that assume obviously no one can see you, that's a given, and that's one that is told quite a lot in things like CBTs and other motorcycle training. But also learn when to use the different brakes. There is a time for the front and there is a time for the rear brake. If I had been a little bit more experienced at that time, I may have hit the rear brake instead of the front and could have potentially saved myself from dropping the bike. That was just like a piece of information I learned the hard way. What other mistake have I made? Number 3 is more about cornering. And even on this little 250, I made some mistakes, especially turning into junctions and getting on the throttle too quickly, or not having as effective clutch control. Hello! I love the shadow of the bike. She looks like a proper sport bike in the shadow. Yeah, I had some junctions where I hit the throttle a bit too early or was a bit too lax with clutch control and ended up going a bit too wide, and obviously in those situations you're grateful that no one else is around, but it could obviously end a lot worse. Thankfully I did also do a lot of practice in things like industrial estates, which I think definitely helps sort of like iron out some of the creases. Then mistake number 4 relates more to having a bike that does not have ABS, and that is, there were several moments when I first started riding, especially as I was a car driver before riding a bike, so I did my car license first, hitting the rear brake too harsh and too suddenly, causing a bit of a fishtail. Thankfully, like, if you're going to lock up any brake, the rear one is the one to do, because it's less likely to end up a catastrophic failure. But I still could have saved myself a few fishtail moments and a bit of lack of control if I'd have just learned to emergency brake a bit quicker or a bit better. using the front brake. Obviously, it's something you do in the mod 1 anyway. But in real life scenarios where you're not anticipating it, it's about getting that habit of using your foot to brake out of your head and using your hand. I've now forgot what number we're on, so I'm going to guess 5. I think that's right. And this relates to the fuel. And I think it's less of a dumb mistake and more of just uneducated, because this bike is 14 years old now. She can theoretically take E10, but I learned quite quickly that E10 is not my friend, and this bike really does not perform well. So she is an E5 only bike, and my mistake was thinking that I had a modern-ish bike and that I could get away with using the cheaper fuel, and honestly, in my opinion, it's not worth it. Dumb mistake number 6 is a few different instances, and it's just like biting off more than you can chew for your skill level. So, for instance, when I first started filtering, I made some questionable decisions, and I think everyone has made some questionable decisions and looked back on it and gone, I am very lucky that did not end worse. Let's say filtering through a gap that is actually a little bit too tight and somehow scraping it through, or that's a scooter, okay, not interesting. Oh my god, the moon's out. Or getting into a gap with a car and realizing, okay, this has to go really well because I don't have an escape route, and basically just putting yourself in a situation that you could have avoided had you actually thought a little bit more about what you were doing. I'm sure there will be a lot more ideas that come to my head once I'm editing this, and I'm sure a lot of you can comment down something that you did that was, looking back on it, very stupid. I will finish off this small list with probably the obvious one that's relevant to this point in time. Overtaking someone, going onto hashed white lines, as you see on the right here, not exactly those ones, they would looked a bit cleaner than those, and ending up face planting the floor at 60 miles an hour. That was a dumb mistake, and a very lucky one. Alright, that's that in terms of my list for today. As I've already said, go and check out the Cardo sale if you're looking to get your hands on one. I can highly recommend them. And once again, massive thank you to Cardo for helping me out post-crash, sorting me out with this Pack Talk Pro, which I'm currently listening to music through. Very nice. And obviously, if you watch any of my intercom videos, they are all recorded using the Cardo app. So if you wanted to do something similar, or you want a group intercom, I would recommend one of the Pack Talk range. Alright, thanks for watching. Don't judge me too hard, we all make mistakes. And I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ra.